All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I'm really trying to wake up. I stayed up until like 1 o'clock in the morning yesterday. And I know y'all like, what were you doing? I was in the studio. I was in my little studio putting down stuff and well, I had a good time. But anywho, so today is my 10-year anniversary. 10 years ago in 2012, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. Time flies. 10 years ago, I got married. And I'm like, dang, you know what? Marriage isn't as long as people think. Like when I look at my nieces and nephews that were in my wedding at the time, like they're all tall and just grown, and I mean it's just 10 years really do fly. It really does fly. So how do I feel? 10 years, I mean, dang on it, it seemed like it was just yesterday. Before my father passed away, he was actually looking at one of the DVD wedding slideshows that I had put together when I had got married, and he forgot he had it, and he put it in, and he was like literally grooving off of the whole the music and looking at the slideshow, and he was like, "You got everybody's in there," and he was like, "I can't believe," because he was thinking like that time it flew. When I look back at my wedding photos, everybody looked very youthful. I mean, that was a whole. I'm not gonna say that's a whole different time, but it really was. And I had a conversation with someone yesterday because they really wanted to get married, and I had to let them know, like, y'all do understand, like, this thing is permanent. Gosh, I cannot stress to people. Um, but she asked me a question. She said, "Well, how do you feel now? Like, how do you feel now that basically your 10 years, like, I told her I feel really good. I really do. I really do. I know most people here, if it's a divorce, they remember the date, they know the date, but it's a painful reminder. It's a painful reminder, and I don't care. I'm celebrating. Mona, why would you celebrate? Because I'm still faithful. That's why. If it wasn't for that day that I got married, I would not be even talking about marriage to half of the people that even listen in or chime in on my channel. If it wasn't for that day, I wouldn't even know how significant and how important marriage is. And I was explaining to the person I was speaking to yesterday that I'm doing my part in a community of people that are newlyweds or engaged, about to be married, and those to come that's not even married yet. I'm doing my part. And I held my vows, and I'm still holding up to the vows and the covenant that God entrusted me with. And even though that he does not recognize that, like, the man that I married is not even thinking about that. It was real, it happened, and my walk, my Christian walk, is a reminder of the covenant that I took back in 2012, July the 20th, 2012. I cannot believe it's 10 years. 10 years. And a lot of people would not at all. They already went and got their bill of divorces. They would just be like, I don't care. That's not my husband anymore. That's not my wife anymore. They'll be in denial. And some people would say, well, Ramona, you're delusional. You got married that day, but that doesn't mean that you're married because he filed for a divorce. He gave you a divorce. He gave you a bill of divorce. I don't think I have to go through and re-explain it all over. I think I have more than enough videos for everybody to understand my position, my outlook, the truth that was revealed to me. Um, but anywho, so she asked me like, "How do you feel now?" And I'm like, I feel like I'm much more wiser and stronger in my walk. I'm more focused. I don't have any distractions. And yes, there's a part that is missing because he's not on the scene. And I'm not gonna lie, I haven't been wearing my wedding band. Not because it's just sometimes I forget to put it on and I just go with it. And sometimes I do put it on. Um, but yeah, today is my 10-year anniversary. Oh man. And then, you know, at least I made it. I made it without cheating, without committing adultery. At least I made it, and along the way I honored God in everything. I put him first and entrusted him, and I still prayed for my husband, and I still thought about him. Y'all don't know what it is to be, well, I can't say y'all because the majority of some of y'all do know because you're put away or even walking this walk. But people don't really understand the significance of when they say I do. And so when I was talking to her yesterday, I said, when you get married, you do know that it's permanent, right? Yeah, yeah, I understand. No, no, you need to understand because what if he decides to walk away? Or what if you decide to throw in the towel? It's standing still, knowing just how serious that you're no longer an individual. You're no longer two different people. You're one flesh. Regardless if this person turns on you, get crazy on you, get locked up for 80 years, go to a different country, marry 5 times over, you're to remain unmarried or reconciled. You understand that. And there's a huge possibility that you may not ever reconcile. So you may be giving up having children, intimacy, all for the sake of being saved, of going to heaven, of keeping God's commandments. It's not even all for the sake of just loving this person. It's honoring God's commandments. So how do I feel? 10 years. 10 years. I cannot lie. You look in the mirror and you realize I'm not what I used to look like 10 years ago. I mean, I can honestly say that I'm pretty much the same size. Maybe I was a tad bit, a little smaller, but 10 years ago. So, what am I going to do on my anniversary? So, what I have picked up my new hobby is I'm I'm actually finishing music. I'm actually it wasn't until my brother came down after my dad's funeral when he came down. um he stayed for a couple of days and I was like, oh, okay, all right, big brother in the building. And so he's into music, and I used to be into music. I used to be into music like really, really hard. And as a matter of fact, my husband at the time, the man I married, he was a producer, and he also used to be a musician as well. And we used to put down really nice stuff. And I feel like when the divorce happened, I didn't have time for stuff like that. Like, I stopped wanting to do stuff. And I may dibble dabble here and there, but it'd be like, oh, okay, I'll come back to it. So when my brother came down, I said, oh, okay, all right, big brother in the building, let's put something on the track. He was like, okay, all right, let's do it. We ended up making this really cool song. It was beautiful. It was really cool. And then my brother came back up here in July, and we were supposed to finish up the track, but we had so much stuff to do. I mean, we were cooking out, friends and family. You know, we had crabs. We was swimming at nighttime. Some of my friends came over. And matter of fact, some of our really good friends came over, and one of them, well, they actually were in our wedding. The husband actually DJ'd when we walked down the aisle when we got married. And his wife, which is now his wife, she was actually one of my bridesmaids. So they came down and we had like a blast. We just had a really good time. And before then, when my brother and me put down this track, he was like, Mom, like your voice, you need to really like have fun, like Mona, go to, like have fun with it. And I forgot just how much fun I had doing music. So lately I've been putting down some really nice, tasteful music, and more so of my experience and of my walk and what I'm dealing with as as a put away wife. I don't even want to label myself as a put away wife. Um, But 10 years, would I have ever guessed in 10 years that I would be here? No, I would have thought that my husband would have been, you know, in the vicinity of my walk. And it's almost as like he's a ghost. It's like he doesn't it's almost as if like he just dropped from the face of the earth. It wasn't until recently I discovered, he was doing his Bible study posting and still doing, music and stuff here and there. And sometimes I read the Bible study posting and I just think like, oh, that was a good message. For over the years, I used to get upset because I'm like, he never mentioned anything about me or his daughter, and after a while, it's just learn how to just love him at a distance, pray for him, and just keep it moving. So yeah, so so I learned how to just, so my 10 years, I mean, it's 10 years, And again, some folks can look back 10 years ago and they can say, wow, like you really dished it out. You really stood by your vows and your covenant. You really obeyed God. And there's some of y'all who can say 20 years, and my heart just really just, my stomach is just another 10 years. You know, it's not an easy thing. I mean, you learn to just deal with it and just live your life in peace and just go with it. But it's not an easy, it is hard to set times because, when God created man, he said for man, it's not good for man to be alone. So he created a female, you know, and Adam named her woman, and he was no longer alone. And it's you can sit up here and say, yeah, I did it, I stood by my covenant and I hoo hoo rah rah, but it's still sad. It's still sad in a sense. But at the same time, people would say that when Jesus went to the cross, it was sad in a sense, but it was all for us. It was all for us. Me walking this walk is just not about my household, but it's a statement that I'm going to obey God and keep his covenant. It's a statement that when my daughter, when she gets older and she's old enough to get married, that they understand just by looking at her mother's walk. It's a statement to my nieces and nephews and my cousins and my friends and my co-workers and the doubters and the naysayers. It's a statement that I'm going to keep God's commandments. Thou shalt not commit adultery. And some people say, you're not even going to have any more children. No, I've had enough that went on to be with the Lord. And there's no way I can have any when there's no one to have another child with. And that was a scary walk, just going 40 weeks. Remember, that was the reason why my channel um, came out 40 weeks to go. That was a scary walk. So I'm grateful to have a living child. I'm grateful. So what do you plan to do, Mona, with your 10 years? Well, 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 what do I plan to do? I don't know. I may just pick my daughter up and we may just go out to a restaurant. We may just do that, but I just bought us some season tickets because we planning on hitting up some Six Flags this weekend because her birthday is right around the corner. But yeah, not too many women can stick by their husbands after their husbands gave them a bill of divorce and said, I no longer love you. Depart from me. Not too many women can do that. Not too many men can do that either. Shoot, y'all can't even stay in a long haul for that on 2 months these days. So hey, I've earned me a new rank, and daggone it, I want to celebrate it. And some may say, well, nah. This is celebrations right here. You know, the last man that I was with was my husband. Not too many women can say that. That's a lot of women that be like, you crazy. Am I crazy? But look at what you're doing. Not too many women can say that. But like I said, I've been there before, and I was explaining to my friend that I've been down the road before when I used to do crazy stuff and I wasn't in the will of God, and everything was falling apart because of that. And now I'm not perfect. There are a lot of things that God needs to work with me on, and a lot of things that I'm asking God for deliverance on. But I mean, I made it this far, and you know. But anyway, that beautiful day I got married, um, I was I was naive. At the same time, I was excited, and I was like, "This is my husband, and we're going to be together forever." You know, and 3 years, 3 years into our marriage um, is when he threw in the towel. 3 years, and God revealed a lot of things to me about marriage, gave me a lot of revelations about marriage. See, the thing is that he looks at us to see how we do, how we treat, how you treat your wife, how you treat your husband. Will you wait for? Sorry, y'all, I'm getting disconnected here. I guess it's the either YouTube don't want me to talk about it, or I'm having a really bad connection. But I was crying. I was crying. I was in tears because my limo was late. I had a Hummer limo, a white Hummer limo. And I remember crying. And I remember my grandfather walked in the house. And he shook his head and he said, "This is a bad omen." I said, "Yo, like, get this old man out of my face. I'm still getting married." I I I was like in tears because my limo was late, and I'll never forget my bridesmaids. Here they go. They was like Operation Bridesmaids. They go running to the daggone liquor store, trying to give me a shot so I could calm myself down or something. Beautiful gowns, and they all in canary yellow, running to the daggone store. And I remember calling those people screaming because my limo was just late. And I remember the dispatcher telling me to calm down, calm down. Next thing you know, he started kirking off and screaming at the limo driver. Like I could hear him on the phone, "Get there now." And so, anywho, when the limo driver finally pulled up, and my grandmother at the time, she put these balloons in her front yard. Like they were all on the lawn. They were like yellow and white balloons. And it rained and the balloons kind of went down. But as the morning came, the balloons came up. Like they just looked so nice. And so the limo driver pulled up. I ran out of the house and I was going off of that limo driver. And my sister Coco, she drives like a NASCAR racer. She really does. And I mean, I remember when my other friend got married and my husband DJ'd her wedding. Like when they walked down the aisle, he did the music. he rode with my sister, and I'll never forget when he got out the car, he said, "Don't you ever put me in the car with that woman ever again." Because my sister drives really fast. So anyway, so when we were in the Hummer limo, my sister was telling the limo driver, "Get in your left lane, get in your right lane, get on the thing." I'm gonna tell you something. There was so much traffic, but that Hummer limo was swerving through and getting past. And what I did not know was that my then with the pastors thought that the wedding was going to be the following day. And when my husband called them and said, "Where are you?" And they're like, "What?" They hurried up and was rushing to get to the chapel. And they were like, "Is the bride there?" And everybody was like, "No." And it was like, "As long as the bride is not there." And I had no idea that was going on. So God had a way of making sure, that the pastor got there. And when the pastor got there, not too long, we pulled up. But my mother said that somebody said, because my husband had been waiting he'd been waiting at the altar, waiting at the chapel for a very long time. And somebody had said that he will wait forever for her. I was so happy when I saw him, and I was so happy to know that he waited for me because we were like an hour behind. Anywho, so 10 years ago, that's when I walked down the aisle, and that was the last day I was my one flesh by myself. When not one flesh, I was an individual person and became one flesh. So yeah, so today is my 10-year anniversary, our 10-year anniversary, and I kept my end of the bargain, and I don't know, another 5 years may pass, another 10 years, another 20 years may pass. It sucks. It really do. I'm not gonna. I mean, you get what I'm saying when I say it sucks. It's just you thought that you would be celebrating your anniversary in a different way, but you're not. But this is not this is not anything that'll make me cry. It's not anything that because I knew what I was signing up for. I just didn't realize that when it went left wing, it was gonna go this left wing. Like I didn't know that I would have never predicted 10 years ago that I'll be walking out this marriage by myself in a sense. I would have never said, okay, in the next 10 years my father would be dead, my dog would be gone, my husband would leave me 3 years within the marriage. I would lose two, three babies. Um, I would be raising my daughter on her own. I would be I would have never guessed that. But I also would have never guessed I would be frontline for marriage, a huge spokesperson for marriage, teaching people about marriage, leveled up in life far as my walk with God and trusting him in all my ways. So the good outweighs the bad. But that's just life. When you think about it, it really does not last that long. 10 years. Some people say they've been together for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. And when I was speaking to my friend yesterday, she said to me, her parents had got a divorce when she was younger. But her father said to her, that will always be my wife. And she said, how is Ma still your wife when y'all divorced? And he looked at her and said, that will always be my wife. And she said when her father passed away, although the mother and him was not physically together, she was there to help with um, his burial and to, his remains and to see him off. And I was explaining to her, I seen somebody, in my church. They used to be a part of the Bible study group that me and my husband used to be a part of. And I think I remember sharing with y'all a couple of years back. Um, we had a dispute in this Bible study group because some thought it's okay for you to get remarried, and I said no, it's not. It's adultery. And there were people who were offended in that class, and the reason why they were offended is because one of them had basically said, they sinned and they hope that God will forgive them. And the reason why is because he left his wife and remarried. And for some odd reason, I feel like he left her in a different country and married another woman in a whole completely different country. And I saw the real couple that is like really married. I saw them and they look much older, and they were, the wife shared with me that her daughter is actually she's engaged and she's about to be getting married come October. And I thought that was just wonderful. She's starting her own life. But that's the best model when she can look at her parents. And this is the real couple that are really married, and look at their photo when they were young and how they became one flesh. And now she's starting her life about to get married and become one flesh with her husband. And here I am. My husband is not there, but I'm honoring my marriage, my covenant, which means I'm doing my part in the body of Christ. I'm doing my part. And I know some people may say this is whatever you, but I'm gonna tell you, like, right now, who are who is anyone to judge me and my walk? When you look at your walk and ask yourself this question: are you married? And if you are married, is that your husband or is that your wife? And I'm talking about one flesh wife, one flesh husband. Because I know it's only like three of y'all that's even chiming in on this. And I'm sure out of three, I don't know, maybe it might be one person that they may be married or maybe none. There's a lot of adultery, fornication, separation. It's a lot of that going on in 2022. And so it's something when people look at me as, oh, it's sad, but what they're secretly thinking is it's sad that you're not dating anyone. Why? There are women my age out here just still dating, not married, but still dating, and they're on the next relationship. And there are women out here who are married, and there are women who are in the same situation I'm in. Nothing new is under the sun. Somebody, when I was sharing my situation, they was like, honey, I'm just so sorry for you. Don't feel sorry for me. I sleep good at night. Don't feel sorry for me because I look at you and you're older than me and you're not married. So I'm almost like in the same boat as you. The difference is able to date. You're eligible to be married because you never been. So don't feel sorry for me. Just be glad that somebody is still out here who fears God and who understands the covenant that I took. So when you take your covenant, I respect that. I dare not touch it. I dare not. I promote, but people have they've abused it. They abuse their positions, whether you were a husband or wife. But 10 years ago, I got married, y'all. Would I do it again? Would I do it again knowing that I would be in this predicament? Would I marry the man that I married back in 2012? You know, I even had to ask myself this not intelligent. I had to ask myself this question. If I was to marry someone else, I most likely would have ended up in a divorce as well. Look at the statistics. Look at the statistics. Or what if I would have chosen not to marry? Then I wouldn't have that beautiful baby girl that I have. I wouldn't know the things that I know right now about marriage. I wouldn't even be talking to y'all right now. I would not have this overwhelmingly love that I have for God because he loved me when my own husband did not. So for again, would I? I absolutely would. You marry the same man, Mona? I sure would. Would you walk the same walk? I sure would. What would you have done differently? Nothing. I think when I got married, I was 29 years old. I was 29 years old when I got married. My husband at the time, I think he was 33. I think at the beginning of our marriage, I probably would have just made sure that we had our own versus my in-laws more in control of certain things. But again, God knows the outcome of everything. He knew. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think when I think that's what I'm gonna do today. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. I wanted to share to y'all 10 years. I made it. 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 There is no I in team, right? I mean, like Ramona, it takes two to be married. You do know this. I understand. I get it. He's still alive, thank God. He made it too. He's still alive somewhere, having a good time. You know, our daughter's doing great. She's doing absolutely wonderful. She's such a dream and just a sweetheart. She's a mama's girl too. My daughter is a mommy's girl. She likes to hang. If I'm going somewhere, I'm going with mommy. I'm like, let's go. Put your shoes on. Let's get out of here. And she has a beautiful voice. A beautiful voice. I be hearing her sing, and I'm like, whoa, you just hit that high note. Her name definitely fits her. Um, but yeah, today it's my anniversary. You know, there's a lot of people out here that they make a mockery of marriage. But anyway, so I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share that I have been in a covenant marriage, in a covenant marriage for 10 years. For 10 years. And I'm going to make the best of the years that are coming up. I'm going to try to do as much as I can in a day. Don't you just hate that when you go to work, when you come home, you're just tired? No, I said to myself, I'm going to try to make the best of it. But a lot of people roll their eyes. A lot of people roll their eyes and suck their teeth and be like, you're just delusional. You don't even talk to your husband. He won't even say nothing to you. They don't even want to say your husband, your ex-husband. Oh, he has the X in front of it. I look at it like as if the X is going to do something. Like the X depletes everything, right? Never mind that God snatched me. Never mind that God showed me. Never mind, You really think that my husband was just such a wonderful husband that I would stay this committed? That's the fear of God, honey. I'm not about to touch that. You really think that, huh? Some of y'all you couldn't be alone for 5 minutes, let alone 7 years. You couldn't even be committed for 10 minutes, let alone 10 years. So yeah, this is something that I need to celebrate. I think I'm a ride a hot air balloon. That's what I need to do. I wanted to do that. My brother's like, "Mom, what you want to do, sis, to celebrate your 40th birthday?" I said, "Y'all want to do a hot air balloon?" Nah, you alone on that one. I'm like, don't nobody want to get in a hot air balloon? Why not? I'm sure my daughter would. She'll be like, "Why we're in a balloon?" I think I'm gonna do it to take my baby on a hot air balloon ride. I asked my cousins and them, come on, y'all. They like, you alone on that one, Mo. A hot air balloon though. So so yeah. So yeah, you guys, yeah. 10 years. I cannot believe 10 years went by. 10 years flew like American Airlines for real. 10 years ago. And I look back at those photos and I remember like it just seemed like it was yesterday. Let me tell y'all something. Life flashes and we are literally like vapors chasing after the wind. I look at those photos of my nieces and nephews, how they look like babies now. When you see them, they're tall as steeples and have their own children. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. I asked the Father to give me grace for the next years of my life. Give me grace with my walk. Let not temptation hit me because temptation is everywhere. Let me direct my footsteps, be a light upon my path. I'm asking God just to keep me, keep my children. I'm asking him to protect my family and keep my family. I was speaking to a mother yesterday and I told her, don't stop praying for your daughter. Just keep praying for her. Even she don't need to know. You go in a secret place and just pray and watch how God moves in her life. Just keep praying. And a lot of people would tell me that, like, just keep praying for your husband. Keep praying. I've never stopped praying for him. I never stopped praying for him. He got to know that I love him because any other woman would be like, whatever. I don't care what you do. Any other woman would be like, please, I didn't sign up for this. Marriage what? Marriage who? Husband who? Covenant, please. You know, see, man, you better be careful who you marry. And women too. But again, God witnesses. He witnessed and he joined you together. And a lot of people used to say, God, they use the excuse, God didn't join all marriages together. You're right. I say this in all my videos. He does not join same sex, and he daggone sure doesn't join adultery. If you already joined to somebody else, he's not going to join. But he witnesses how you treated your wife of your youth. He witnessed what you do in this walk while you're out here. Have you forgiven your husband? Have you forgiven your wife? Have you prayed about them? Did you forget about them and act like they just didn't exist? Did you do that? Did you forget about them and act like they're not even there? They're dead to you. So even in my walk of being put away and being divorced for the last 7 years on paper, even in my walk, obeying God, keeping his commandments, and at the same time, knowing that I don't physically see my husband or talk to him, but I still know that he's alive and he's out there, and I'm still bound to him. And with that is a respect. It is a respect that I'm not flaunting like, hello, fellas, hello. Did you know that my husband divorced me 7 years ago? Notice how I don't have a ring on my finger, or I wear this ring, but he's not there. I don't do no. I mean, the only people that really know about stuff like this is you guys. But in my walk, I literally live my life like as if my husband is there. And I know to y'all, it's so like, well, what do you mean by that? I live a very respectable, conservative life. Like, you know, I go to work. I still go out and I have a good time. I still go out with my sisters and them from time to time, once in a blue moon. I will have a good time. But I don't talk to guys. I don't get numbers. I don't, when I go home, it's basically my household and my baby. I enjoy planting my flowers. Y'all gotta see my daggone hydrangeas. I planted some hydrangeas about 2 years ago. I've never seen this type of purple before. It's like a, I can't even do, I gotta show y'all some pictures of my hydrangeas. My knockout roses, those have been doing great too. But anyway, let me not get off subject. But I stay the course. And I know to some of y'all it may sound so foreign, but don't some of y'all long to be married and you want to be married? I'm not saying your marriage is going to be like me, like your husband is just going to say, here's a divorce, or your wife is going to do it. But you do know that if one of you walk away, you're still married. Even if a judge says divorce granted, you're still married. Isn't it crazy? You're supposed to be this divorce. How come they still ask questions on applications 5 years? Are you single, divorced? Why do you need to know this? If I'm so-called divorced, can't I just put single? They ask you, are you single, divorced, widowed? Shouldn't this divorce thing kick all the way in? You get what I'm saying? Hold on, you guys. Hold on. Oh, my goodness gracious. Mona, trying my best. I'm trying my best. Some day to day. I think I'm gonna take myself out to a restaurant. I may go to Clyde's. Clyde's got the best crab cakes. Good morning. A steak and cheese bacon? Yes. No steak, no egg, and 2 hash browns. Yes, please. Nice one. But yeah, y'all, 10 years ago. Thank you so much. Have a great day. I cannot complain. I can't complain. Shoot. I've done a lot of things in the last 10 years. Oh, man. And I got a lot more things to do. And I know you asked this question, but Mona, what if your husband never comes back? I don't mean any harm, but it's been 7 years now. I mean, it's not like I'm sitting on the front porch waiting, like, the color purple, waiting for a car to pull up or something, or the mailbox. I'm not anymore. I understand that scripture to live in peace. God wants us to live in peace. In life, you make these decisions. You made a decision to get married. Nobody makes a decision that somebody is going to. Thank you. Thank you. Doing great. Can I have some ketchup, please? Thank you. You too. Hi, excuse me. Yeah. I told them I did not want no steak.
No steak?
No.
Bacon?
I wanted this, but without the meat.
Meat? No meat?
No meat. I know it sounds. I know she looking at me like, well, why would you get a steak and bacon? Just give me the one without no meat. But what was I gonna say? But yeah. So I know some people say, well, Mona, what do you like? What if another 10 years happen, another 20 years happen? I married that particular person, and
Sorry, don't left.
okay. Yeah. I married that particular person, and that was a decision that he made. Now, is this saying like, well, that's just really messed up? That's just really wrong. That's just another chapter in my book. You know, at the end of the day, we all got to realize something is that we were born by ourselves and we're going to die by ourselves, okay? And everything that we do should be motivated by God. Everything that we do, we need to honor what God tells us to do. Marriage is is another chapter in our life. You know, I said this before in my last videos, and it's true. There are three major things that happens in a person's life, and even in the census, they look at when you were born, who you married, and when you die. God wants us to be fruitful and multiply. He wants you to be married. He wants a kingdom full of families. You see what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, those who help populate the earth through a covenant marriage. Thank you. And I know it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. No, I'm fine. Thank you. I know it's a hard pill to swallow because you may say, what in the world? What was that? You may say, that's a long time. 3 years is a long time to wait for somebody. 10 years is a long time. 20 years is Jesus has been waiting for folks for a long time too. And when I compare how long he has waited for folks, I be like, dag, then that's a long time to be waiting for somebody. God has waited for people. He created people and waited for them to come back to him. And I don't know. I think the sad part is that I don't want to forget how he was. But it is true. After a while, it's more like out of sight. I can't say out of mind because, again, your whole walk and the whole purpose of you staying celibate and not dating is because of the factor that you know that you're one flesh. So in a nutshell, you are respecting your spouse. But this ain't got nothing to do with him for real, for real. This got everything to do with honoring God. Because I'm not going to hell for it. I'm just not. And you see these women that's complaining about relationships and not finding, and and I'm talking about all ages, eligible women. And some that are divorced. One lady was saying that men ain't this, that, and the third, and she said they don't stay loyal. And then she says, my husband, after 20 years, divorced me. The men, I'm thinking to myself, that's still your husband, lady. Go, you need to remain unmarried. I don't even know why you even out here in the dating pool. Why? You know what I mean? And she's upset trying to spit this game. Do your part. Even the men too. There are men that got put away by their wives because she decided she want to go and chase after nothing. But anywho, this is my 10-year anniversary. 10 years and dang, 10 years. And I know some people, like I said, be rolling their eyes and how can you sit up here and celebrate that when you got put away? How can you still be faithful when I paid for your divorce? How can you still honor God and still not throw in the towel after everything you went through? Because God said he'll never leave me nor forsake me. He is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And as long as I got God, shoot, I can do everything. I could do all things through Christ that gives me strength. And it took, and for me to still be acknowledging and understanding and keeping God's covenant, it is something, it is a milestone, and it is something for me to be happy and proud about. So anyway, y'all have a blessed day today. Y'all better really think before you get married. Understand how serious it is, because this walk, I could have easily said, I ain't about to do all of that, but my life would be in shambles if I did. I know it would. Anyway, y'all have a blessed day today.